I called yesterday a bonus day. The forecast said it was going to be raining yesterday and a lost day for doing anything outside, and it turned out to be a nice day. Well, if yesterday was a bonus day, today is a double bonus day. Forecast for today was even more rain and strong winds, and it is another nice day. We've still got some cumulus buildups and a few showers moving by once in a while, but basically it's a pretty nice day. So I'm going to see if I can get some more work done. This is what I was going to do yesterday. Yesterday I'd planned on jacking the cabin up and getting it leveled back up, and then coming back here on the back side of the cabin, finish putting up some house wrap up here. But just about the time we got done with the last corner over there of leveling the house, it started raining, and then it just poured down rain all afternoon yesterday and all night last night. Now today it's done raining for a while. Not complaining about that at all. Well, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and work on what I was going to do yesterday and put some more of this house wrap up here on the back side of the cabin. I'm not going to be able to get it all done. I don't think my ladders will reach high enough, because the peak of this, the top part of this, is just as high as what the front of the cabin was, and I couldn't get up to the peak of it without using the Bobcat. So I'll just get as high as I can on ladders, and then we'll get the Bobcat to get the rest of it up there. But got to start someplace. Well, I've put up, I don't know, thousands of yards of tar paper and other types of house wrap. The primary method of doing it forever was using the old hand-fired staple gun, and then when we got a hammer type gun, that was great. But of course, staples always pull through, whether it's tar paper or house wrap or plastic sheeting. A few years ago, we were shopping down at Harbor Freight, and I come across a staple gun that used these staples and these plastic discs, and it shoots the staples through the plastic discs. Oh, not everything you get out of Harbor Freight is worth a crap. Some of it is okay, but you got to be real careful with the stuff you get as to whether it's worth what you pay for it or not. I bought a couple of those, or one of those staple guns and some staples to try it out, and lo and behold, it worked pretty doggone good. I was really happy with it. So we bought another gun. We've used it a lot over the last few years, putting on house wrap and tar paper and things like that. Problem we run into it with is Harbor Freight doesn't carry it anymore, and they don't carry the staples and stuff for it. Now Boss Stitch makes one, and this is almost identical. The Harbor Freight one is probably a clone of this one. So I bought some staples and some discs to see if they'd fit on the Harbor Freight one. Well, the pitch of the staples is just a little bit different. The staples on the Harbor Freight one are a little bit wider, so they don't fit. These staples, the Boss Stitch staples, don't fit in it. The discs are all the same size and everything else works good on that, but the staples didn't work in it. Well, I thought about trying to modify the Harbor Freight one and stuff to fit these staples and everything, and I just thought, I'd just go ahead and buy one of these Boss Stitch, Stanley Boss Stitch ones, and it works really good. I won't say it works any better than the Harbor Freight one did, but it works good. So they're worth having for putting this stuff up. especially if it's not going to be covered up right away. If you're putting something up that's going to be covered with a sheeting on top of it right away, then staples probably are just as good as anything. But for putting stuff up that may be out in the weather for a few days and possibly a windstorm and stuff like that, these ones with these discs on them are worth their weight in gold. Well, anyway, I'm out of staples, so I guess I better go reload this thing. Well, I've been waiting to do that row there for several days now, waiting out the rainstorms and the wind. Of course, you couldn't want to do that in the wind. That stuff would just blow away, carry me away like in a kite. And I didn't really want to suit up in my armor to get out here in the rain and do that. I'm too old for that stuff now for something like this. I've done more than my share of working out in the rain and the mud and the cold and the snow and all the other nasties that the environment can throw at you. Well, anyway, I got that row up there. Now that's as high as I can get working off of the ladders. We'll have to get the Bobcat with the basket on there to get up and do the rest of that, or I'd have to build scaffolding or something, but I don't really want to do that. I had to pull out a few staples that I missed when I went across that. I'd gone over all of that before with a hammer and stuff and trying to get all the staples either knocked down or pulled out, and all the old torn up, crumpled up tar paper. Of course, there's always a few that you miss. Those things blend into that so well that it's kind of hard to see all of them. So anyway, that's one more layer of house wrap up there to seal that up. That would be a lot better if that was covered over with some siding now. That would be perfect there, but I'm not going to do that. For right now, I've got too many other things to do, and I've got some other ideas for this anyway that probably won't ever get done. But anyway, that's one more row done. Now I've got to wait for my wife to come home to get the basket for the Bobcat. Tomorrow is supposed to be a sunny day, a really nice day, so we can get that done tomorrow. Meanwhile, my son's coming over this afternoon to set up a new computer. My old computers have gone gunny bag, and he's built me a new one. Got him to come over this evening to set that up, so I got to go clean up my little office space up there. I got a mess up there as usual, just like I got a mess everywhere else. Anyway, I'll go do that. I'll put this stuff all away now, and tomorrow we'll get that finished. It's already made a difference in there. We haven't really got the cold weather yet, but I just noticed holding my hand up, the inside of the cabin's not finished everywhere. We got drywall up on most of it, but there's places where there's still insulation, still open bays. They're filled with insulation, but they're not covered with drywall. And there's a couple spots there where you can hold your hand up and feel the cold air coming through. Around the bathroom window, especially there. That's the window that is right there just on the corner of that box where the water heater is and stuff. Anyway, there's cold air coming in that, and I checked it out yesterday, and it's already better than it was. I couldn't feel any cold air coming through there, so even with all the wind and stuff we had, it's better than it was. So anyway, that should tighten the cabin up a little bit. Man, oh man, what a beautiful day today. Crystal blue sky, clear as a bell, not a cloud in sight. Of colder than a witch's. Well, let's just say it's a little chilly here. It got down to about 25 degrees this morning, and it's 11 o'clock in the morning right now. The sun's just barely coming up over the trees, and it's still cold. It froze hard. The ground froze hard. Little chilly, or maybe it just seems like it's a little chilly, but I'm gonna have to go dig out my long johns. We had an interesting day yesterday. A couple days before, it rained and blew pretty hard. Then yesterday morning it turned off and snowed a little bit. We got just a little bit of skiff of snow on the ground, just a little bit. It melted off pretty quick, warmed up, and well, it didn't warm up much, but it rained and it melted the snow pretty fast, so it didn't last very long. Yesterday was a pretty nice day for the most part. We had a few showers, a few rain showers here and there, but it was a nice day for the most part, and I got a little bit of work done outside here. Now, I'd ordered a new liner for the cistern on the house here, and I got a call from the barge company that it got in yesterday. About 4 o'clock we left here, headed into the barge company, which is about 6 miles away, I guess. Went by a friend of ours' house. It's about 2.5, 3 miles from here, and she was out in her driveway carving pumpkins for Halloween. Yesterday was Halloween. Went on out to AML, to the barge company. When we got there, the power was out. And it just went out a minute or two before we got there, a couple minutes before we got there. Well, we picked up our package and we turned around and started coming back, and we got back out near our friend's house there. The road was blocked. The police were there and they'd had the road blocked off, and we could see a big slide had come down, and it covered the highway right there. It went down a driveway into another friend's place. It didn't get into their house, but it tore out the power line and blocked the highway with a bunch of trees and mud and stuff. That thing had just happened just moments after we went by it. Well, anyway, we got stuck in town on the town side, couldn't get out here. We turned around, went back into town, stopped and told a couple friends that they not to bother coming out this way, to make arrangements to stay in town. And then we went to my son's place and went up there for a little while. Well, the power was out in town, and of course it was cold, and everybody's got electric heat and no lights or anything. And we sat around there and visited for a little bit, and then I decided that I'd go ahead and come the long way back home. And we went around old logging roads, about 25 miles or so around, and made it back home. And deer hunters out yesterday, and the way back around that old mountain road, we met about 40 cars headed back to town that they couldn't get through where the highway was blocked off, so they came back around and went around to town on the old logging road. We met about 40 cars there in the dark on a narrow road. A car came up behind us. I thought it was going faster than I was, because that road was pretty bad shape and we were going pretty slow. And so I pulled over in a wide spot to let that car go by. Well, it turned out it was a friend of ours. He was glad to see somebody going the same direction he was. He got an old beat up pickup truck, and he's not in the best of health, so he's kind of worried about being out there in the wilderness by himself in the middle of the night. Well, we followed him back until he got close to town, and then took the dogs for a run. Of course, the power was out here when we got home, and we got electric heat in the cabin. Fortunately, I've got an unvented gas heater in the cabin I put in several years ago, and we got it fired up and got the cabin warm. I figured it would only be a few hours before they had the power back on out here, but it was off all night. It flashed a couple times about midnight. We went out this morning, take dogs for their morning run, and on the way back we could see the power and light on a circuit breaker out here on one of the power poles right by the logging road where we took the dogs up, and they were just starting to energize it. Judy was just getting ready to go out in the shop and cook breakfast on the wood stove. I had a fire going in the wood stove in the shop this morning, and she was just getting ready to cook breakfast on the wood stove when the power come on, so she was happy that the power came back on so she'd go back in the house and cook on the regular kitchen stove. So anyway, we got a really nice day today. It's cold, the sun hasn't hit yet, and I don't know how much it's going to warm up, but we got some work to do here. I've got the Bobcat going now. I'm going to go put the lift basket on it so I can finish putting the house wrap on the back side of the cabin, and then we got a bunch of other stuff we got to do. Get ready for snow, I guess. It's time to get things cleaned up and get ready for snow. Well, I better get busy, get to work in here. I gotta go put my long johns on, and then we'll get the Bobcat going and get started getting stuff done. Getting the rest of that house wrap on the back side of the cabin here. Pretty cold to start out with, but we got into some sunshine up there now and it's warmed up. Well, I got as much as I could driving the Bobcat straight in, but we got this box on the back of the cabin that has the water pump and the heater in it and stuff. We got to get around, so I had to manipulate the Bobcat around a little bit, get it turned a little bit at an angle so we can get in there and finish that up. Just got a little bit left to do and we'll be done with the weather stripping or weatherproofing or whatever you want to call it. So. Well, that's done. Got the house wrap on that end all the way up to the top. Couldn't have done it without Judy and the lift. It was just too high for my ladders. And that was a lot easier being on that basket anyway and being able to move around than just moving the ladders around back and forth. So anyway, that should help keep the wind from whistling through that building a little bit anyhow. Oh, it warmed up a lot. As I say here in the sunshine, frost is almost melted off. Still frosty in the shade. It's still a little chilly, but a lot better than it was a few hours ago. So that does it, I think, with the man basket. You got to go put it away, and then I'm going to get out the bucket and the blade and start getting ready for snow plowing. I got a lot of stuff to clean up around here to get ready for pushing snow and stuff. So we'll put everything away here for doing the housework and start getting ready for snow.